Today we are taking the Chloride Mine Trail just outside of Chloride, Arizona. And it is one of the oldest surviving mining towns that still has 350 residents. They've got all sorts of neat things in and around the town to check out. You saw at the beginning of this video, there's a mural that marks the beginning of this trail. This was a silver mining town. There's silver in them thar hills. And this is a nice trail. On Onyx, it's rated 7 of 10. And I don't know that I don't know. Sometimes I feel like these trail ratings are kind of, it's just difficult. I don't think it's a 7. Maybe it's a 5 based on what I read there, but there's a couple little rocks or whatever to get over and whatnot, but most of it's pretty easy. You know, slightly off camber something or another that, you know, you just turn into and drive down and then drive out. I mean, none of it's that tricky. Well, anyway, for the most part, I'd say up until like where you get to some Jeep stuff, most of the trail in the beginning is like a 1 or a 2 out of 10. And after the Jeep stuff, when you get to the top, it pretty much becomes a 1. It's graded, you know, smooth. It's a nice road to just cruise and enjoy the scenery. I think I was in 2-wheel drive almost the whole time after we got to the top. But you know, it's just got great views all the way up. And I don't know, unless I got something to say, I'll just let the video play. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So like coming up, we got some pebbles to drive through or little rocks. But coming up, you've got like a little twisty section. There's a big boulder, but you can easily avoid it. You just drive, you don't have to drive over it or drag anything. And now I'm leaned up just a little bit. I just drive down into the wash and then just out. And even though that little climb there is, probably the 3 feet or whatever, it's like, that's pretty easy. I don't know. I think most vehicles could probably do that. I have a hard time with these number systems, like we were on a 6 earlier and there were no rocks on the trail. It was pretty much smooth except for a couple little wash spots from rain, but it just had climbs, up and down climbs, and it was rated a 6, and it was maybe at best a 2. And if those washes were filled, it'd definitely be a 1. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't really off camber, even though it was stated it was. But well, anyway, you can kind of see here. Here's another little section of stuff on the trail. It's not that difficult. And for the record, I'm in a 22 Jeep Wrangler JLU Rubicon with a metal cloak 3.5-inch lift, skid plates, and 37s. So, and I'm, in 4 low, sway bars disconnected. And my tires I aired down to 11 because this was supposed to be a 7, and I just take it seriously, and I don't want to be like doing a 16 psi or 18 psi and then come up on a serious obstacle and be like, oh, let's try this anyway. I would rather try to err on the side of caution so that I have the most grip, and frankly it's just a more comfortable ride down that low. So, and we're not going fast. This is just a nice Sunday drive. it's hard to believe that this is an hour from Las Vegas, and we are the only ones on the trail. I mean, at the very end, in the easy section, there was a couple people camping or whatnot, and one person at the end, when we were right next to the interstate, asked if we were okay, and they were heading in, but they were in one of those big Sprinter vans, so they're not doing the trail probably, but just going in to enjoy it. But it's nice. I mean, it seems like most of the trails we are on out here, it's like they're relatively empty, and I was kind of surprised that there wasn't more people just getting out on the weekend just to enjoy these views. I mean, and what a great day. I mean, God, we had clouds, the sky just looked amazing, and up here the views are just fantastic. I mean, it's hard with a GoPro, and I think maybe going forward in the future, I'll probably, when it's more just scenery, I was expecting more of a Jeep trail, and this is really more of a scenery trail, at least to me. I would probably have the GoPro pointed more off to the driver's side here, or whatever side is going to be getting the views, because we were just looking out the window and through the windshield off to the side or wherever the views were, and it was so beautiful. I mean, this is a great trail, and I was really not a huge fan about being around a ton of people anyway, so it's a good thing to be out here and have nobody, I guess. But I was surprised because of how easy it is. I was surprised. And especially if you come in the backside, I think it was like Tennessee Road or something like that, which is the way we exited, because you start the trail in the town of Chloride. If you come up that way, I mean, any car can do almost all of this. So I think there's like a little spot coming up where there might be one more thing, but I mean, it just, once you get to a certain point at the top, it's like any vehicle can do this. This is just, it's really just a great viewing area. And like not right now, but at the end, it's like, you'll see, it's like you're just skirting along the top of these mountains, and these mountains happen to be the tallest ones, and they're just looking down on all the other mountains. And so you got clouds, right about mountaintop height, and then you got the mountains below, and then below that you have a huge valley, and at some point you can even see the town of Chloride, which kind of reminds me of the view of Ouray, if you've been there, up on Bridal Veil Falls. You kind of look down on the town. It's a nice view. I got a picture of that. But I mean, just look at that sky. That's amazing. Here we have some ruins from the old mines. There's mines all through this, all along the sides of the hills and up in the hills and whatnot. But such a pretty day, and this seemed like a pretty good spot for a picture. So I'm gonna just kind of turn back in so I can get a nice picture of Project Alice. Getting the sun. Boom, there she is. Off and running. You see a tailing pile. Next to that, there's a big wooden structure. And on the other side of that, there's like a, I don't know what that is. It's just like it's a big rounded kind of half barrel of metal, a metal half barrel or whatever. I'm not sure if they use that kind of like an ore card or what that was, you know, but pretty interesting. I'll stop here for a picture too, just for a second. So kind of a crazy thing. We both saw vehicles on the side of this hill up here. And I saw the blue pickup truck, and Shell saw the silver, or whatever the heck that is, some kind of SUV. And it's like, how the heck does this happen? Like, did one go off to try to say, oh, I can do this, and then the other one got stuck, and then they both trashed their vehicles? I don't know. Great view, though. It was a great view. That's just crazy. I mean, it's like you don't even see a trail going down. I mean, it's not recent, but it's like, why would you even think about going over there? I don't know if this is where I stopped exactly for this picture, but that's Chloride there. So, kind of a neat shot. Trying to get Chloride in the GoPro. Trying to face that way just a little bit. Looks like I succeeded. Then I gotta make a hard right to stay on the trail. There's other trails here that you can kind of explore. You see it that they're marked as trails, and you can tell people are using that, but I'm just staying on the one that was marked in Onyx, following that because it's a 7 out of 10. And so here we're climbing up just a little bit, and there's a couple little rocks. But it's not too much longer. We're up pretty much at the top, and then it just becomes, you can kind of see like a power pole and whatnot. And at that point, I'm pretty sure like that's all graded nice for like, so the power company can get up to these, to service these towers and whatnot for power. And there are campgrounds up there too, so I mean, those are some of the nicest campgrounds they have. I've seen. The views are just amazing up there, so we'll be driving by that in a little bit. Here I decided I was going to check the battery on the GoPro. And when I put a new one in, I decided to just kind of have it pan. This is just so beautiful. I mean, it's just, what a great view. So, that's all. One of the things I try to do when I'm editing is I try to like cut out any place I stop for a second to take a picture or spot a rock and look and say, ooh, is that a rock? And or see critters or whatever, just so that for the most part the video is always just going forward. But that's why that edit was there. It was kind of a bad edit, but it was basically, it's like I must have saw something or Shelly saw something and caused me to back up and then sit for a second and then get going. So, but it's probably we saw something or I saw a rock and I'm like, ooh, is that a shiny rock? And then no, it's not really all that shiny. Seems like a lot of the interesting things were right around switchbacks on the trail wise. I mean, these are really cool rocks on the side. I like the little lines and stuff, but Jeep wise, there's just a little bit of rocks in the trail. None of it's too big. You don't have to drive over those boulders even if they're there, so I don't think they should count towards the rating, but I think this is like probably one of the last bumpy areas or whatever on the trail. Then we might be coming up to the top. But I'm pretty sure the end of what I consider the Jeep part is like where you get to where there's like power lines and stuff at the top, and you can see that it's like a double wide, a full-size road basically that's been graded, and it's pretty smooth, so that should be coming up pretty soon. Yep, and you can kind of see it's like you round the corner here, you got little plants and all sorts of stuff creeping into the trail, and it's starting to get a little wider, but it's very smooth up here. And then off to the right there's an actual trailhead to some hiking trail. I forget the name of it. And here's a nice viewing area, overlook for people to check out those mountains. I mean, you can just see for miles and miles. I don't know how many miles that is, 20, 30 miles, 50 miles. It's pretty amazing. And this is just the gravel road at this point. You might have to dodge a cow poop once in a while, and they got cows on the bottom of all this. There is a cow grate at a certain section up here, and there was poops on one side and poops on the other, but we're thinking the cows are supposed to be on the other side, but some cows had got up over on this side at some point and left their markings everywhere. Cows are like that. They're super cute, so you can't really get mad at them. another campground. I think there's two. There's like, I think the one where that sign is, there's a campground. And on the right hand side, I think that there was a campground too. But what a great area. Yeah, you can see there's the one. Just checking out, trying to read the sign, see what it says. There's another sign. And I don't remember it. But what a nice Sunday drive. I mean, even if you don't have a Jeep, it's like just to be able to come up into the mountains and see this. I mean, that's, for me, I enjoy that. I think this is very relaxing. It's nice to be like climbing up rocks and seeing waterfalls and all sorts of stuff, but I like this too. I like ghost towns. I like just seeing nature. You know, one of the things I did not see in this, going through this video, somewhere in here we saw a hawk, and it looked like it flew up in front of the Jeep. And I don't know if I cut it out accidentally or what, but I can't find it. But could have swore that it looked like the Jeep should be able to capture that, but maybe it was just a little too tall for how close it was, and it was just out of its sight. But yeah, like we saw a hawk, and that was pretty cool. We were on the lookout for bighorn sheep up in the mountains, but we did not see any. One of the things with this trail, this is kind of, you know, one of the things, just even living out here now and then experiencing all these trails on the weekends and whatnot, is their climates are so different from trail to trail to trail, even during trails. Like here, you're in an area where there's actual trees and juniper trees, and now all of a sudden you're coming to an area where the trees are getting smaller and less dense. But up near the peak of the trail, there was just a ton of trees, like an unbelievable amount of trees. And it's just like, we are so close to like all these other mountains, and these other mountains are not covered in trees. Kind of like, I don't know if I'll have to see like when I see this on my TV, because right now I'm just on my iPhone. But the beginning of the trail, there was just a ton of prickly pear cactuses. And like, we see them once in a while on other trails, but never where they just basically take over an area. And that's what they did. They basically, and then it's like, oh, they're gone. And then you just see one here or there intermittently, but you don't see a bunch. And it's kind of like this with the trees. It's like, oh, there's all these like juniper trees, and there was a couple other kind of trees that I don't know the names of. And that's one thing, you know, like besides just the different changing of the color rock and the rocks in the mountains and stuff like that, it's like you have like the red barrel cactuses, and then you've got some green barrel cactuses, and then you've got like these little, I don't know, little spiky little thin things, and then you've got these ones that I guess, I don't know the name of them, but if you fall onto one, the little bulbs with spikes break off and stick to you all over, so they kind of look, they look like they'd be kind of almost fuzzy, but definitely don't want to tangle with them. But my point is in these areas, it's like it might just be a lot of sage, or it might be a lot of, and like to me, you know, obviously I'm not a plant, so I don't know what's up with the soils, but something's got to be different, you know, because, you know, a certain level of water or a certain level of minerals or type of minerals in the soil, and like the plants just change, mile to mile to mile while we're out here. And I think that's really cool and interesting. I mean, I don't know what other people think about that stuff, but it's just like, what a crazy world. It's kind of like, watching, the geology of the rocks change as you're driving too. I mean, and the different kinds of rocks, like you can have like a lot of clay and mud and sandstone, and early on in this there was a lot of the yellowy kind of quartzy looking stuff that I always associate with like gold mines in Colorado. And like this trail here reminded me of Colorado or the LaSalle Mountains in Utah. And then, that's right near Moab, and that Moab couldn't be any more different from the LaSalle Mountains. There's the cow grate. So right before that grate, there was poop on the right-hand side from cows. And then there's little poops in the road coming up here. But down at the bottom, we got to see a bunch of cows. There was cows all over near the bottom of this mountain area. So we got to say hi to the cows because we like the cows. Gosh darn it, they're just so wonderful. Give them our little cutesy voices. Look at these views though. I just love this. That's why I kept it. It's just a nice memory when we came here. And this is something like I like to sometimes just throw up in the background if I'm doing something else or futzing on my phone or whatever. And it's just like, it's just nice to just have our memories just playing in the background. YouTube sometimes makes me watch a ad to even see my own damn videos, which is kind of funny. But once I'm through that first one, I don't have to watch ads. It's like, damn it, YouTube, this is mine. Well, anyway, if you made it this far, it's almost to the end. But thanks for watching. And I guess the thing is I just make these so that, if other people want to see a trail, I mean, a lot of times I look up a trail and I'll investigate by seeing someone else's video, and sometimes I feel like it just doesn't show enough. And hopefully with this, you can see from the GoPro pointed in front of the Jeep whether this is something you want to do in your vehicle, Jeep or whatever, stock, just whatever you're comfortable with. If this is something you're comfortable with, great, then I helped you. But just seeing these numbers for trail ratings sometimes I think is very deceiving. It's like, oh, this can be up to 5 feet tall. Well, I think the thing is, it's like they don't really have like set rules for how they say that. Like, it's not 5 feet straight up. So maybe it's 5 feet tall, but it's, 20 feet long or something, and just a bunch of little rocks and ridges or something over that gaining 5 feet. It doesn't really say like what the angle has to be for it to count. And so I think that's like my problem with some of these ratings. It's like sometimes you get into you can do a 4 and be like, whoa, that felt a lot more sketchy than a 7 I did. And it's like on some level, it's like, that's kind of like where, at least with the greens and the blues and the blacks and the reds for the trail ratings, it's like, well, it's like, okay, green, it's probably, pretty safe or whatever. But like, you can get on some of these trails that are rated lower number and then come to a section that's still pretty sketchy if it's, just set up just right. So I don't know. Well, anyway, I do a lot of research just by trying to watch and see what people say is on trails before I go, just so I'm mentally prepared. And this one didn't really seem to show a lot, but so I was aired down and ready for war. Brah! And the rocks did not win today. Yay! I don't know. Just rambling. I'll shut up till the end now. Thanks for watching.